Absolutely the perfect song, and you'll find out why. So, good morning, everyone. I'm Karyl Huntley, for those of you that I have not met yet, and I'd like to welcome everybody here. There are some people that are back after a long time, and I believe some brand new people. So we have someone from a couple of people from the newcomer team, and they have little packets of information about our community. So if you are brand new, or if you don't have one of these and would like to have some more information, just put your hand up. That's all we're going to ask you to do. And then come and hug me after the service. That's another requirement. But welcome, everybody, very much so. So here we are. In 2017, we have incredible, amazing work to do this year about deepening, increasing our faith, and enhancing our spiritual skills so that we can have an incredible life for ourselves and be an example to others of what love in action looks like, right? Right? Okay, good. So our theme this year, all year long, is a values-based spiritual living. So these are the values that we are going to be talking about all year. So transformation is 1 month, accountability is 1 month. This month here is spiritual living. But I just want you to look at all of these amazing spiritual qualities that we're going to be working with, because the key is not to just think about them. You know, the key is to contemplate and then work with them so that you become a living expression of these values. So in order to help you do this, we have this amazing thing that our graphic artist, Pat Malone, has done. You'll notice that this cloud here has all of these 12 plus values in different sizes. So maybe you think, gosh, I wish that there was one that had love even bigger. Well, we've got a whole lot of versions of these qualities. They're on the events table back there. You can take a look and see which construction, they're the same combination, but they're different sizes. You can take one of these and put it on your refrigerator, put it on your bathroom mirror, whatever the power place in your house is. And so these can be a reminder to you of how fabulous you are and the power within you is. Is this wonderful? Do you love this so much? I love this so much. So I'm going to take this one because love is really big. So our monthly theme, as I said, is spiritual living. And that, in the most general sense, is knowing that our spiritual awareness is really the cause of pretty much all of the details and experiences in our life. It starts with spirit and then out pictures as everything else. So starting with spiritual living is absolutely the place to start. So each week we're going to have a few values that I suggest to you, but you can choose any that you like. So these are the ones for today. The first is honesty. So this is not only honesty with each other, you know, being your word, as it, you know, Don Miguel Ruiz, yeah, that one. But it's honesty with yourself, and I'm going to talk about this today. Next is responsibility. Responsibility for your life, and I'm responsible for my life. You're responsible for your life, I'm responsible for my life. We'll go into that in detail today. And then the third quality or the value that I thought about as I was creating this talk is lightheartedness. To just treat everything in life with, a lightness of being. That's, you've heard that old saying that angels can fly because they take themselves lightly. So, in your bulletin here, we're going to have this through January, and then by the end of January, I think you're going to have the idea about it. But right here are a list of core values, a whole bunch of values. And these are not the only values. I got this list off the internet. There are other lists, hundreds of spiritual values. And I encourage you to go to the internet and find some that you really want to work on. Because what I'm going to ask you to do is right here, this is going to be in all year long. This Living My Values, Choose a Value and Live It for the week. We're going to have 50 more of those, or 49 more of those opportunities for you. And you can use the same value all year long if you want to. You can change it up. You can use the values that I suggest. You can read the list and choose one that you want to work on. Because what we want to do here is, like I said, live this. And so your assignment weekly is to choose a value, to write it down here, to post it, probably right next to this, post it in your house, and then live it. And then the final thing is to report to me what happens. Because I know and you know that talks are much more interesting when there are stories interspersed. And a lot of the stories come from my life, but I want a lot of the stories to come from your life. So you have to tell me these stories. In order to have the stories, you have to live the values. Okay? Okay? Good. Okay. The other thing that we do this month is, in January, is we review the first 4 chapters in the big book here, The Science of Mind. The first 4 chapters are entitled The Thing Itself, The Way It Works, What It Does, and How to Use It. You might think that's what she talks about every week, and you're right. The philosophy of The Science of Mind is very simple. I've been at this my whole life, so it's not that easy to practice, but it's pretty easy to talk about. That's why I keep telling you, you got to make this your own and live it. So today we're going to talk about the way it works. The way it works is I could ask pretty much anybody that's been here for half a year to tell me how it works, and you would know. But since I'm up here, and I'm going to say how it works. Here's how it works. The all-pervading essence of life, which we call God, that energy that is everywhere, all-knowing, all-powerful, that wonderful oneness that Marilyn evoked as she began to pray, that is everywhere, in and through all things. You don't have to call it in. It's there. That essence of life makes itself into the circumstances and conditions of our life. It makes itself into all the things. It makes itself into the trees and the grass and the elephants and the air and the clouds and the rain. It makes itself into the planets and the suns far, 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 galaxies away. That's one thing that makes itself into all things. And it makes itself into all of the things that we love in our life. And it makes itself into all the things that cause us pain in our life, not because it wants to annoy us, but because the thoughts that we think into it are untrue. They're lack thoughts. They're fearful thoughts. And so that's how we come up with all this great variety in our life. So, of course, we want to look at the pain, right? We want to look at the pain because we want to get rid of it. And so in order to look at the great variety that we have in life, I want you to look at the altar that is this wonderful creation of Suzanne du Bois. And so in honor of Martin Luther King, Jr., it's an African theme. And then you'll notice that the candles are black, gray, and white. And that sort of symbolizes the quality of experiences that we create for ourselves. The darkness the darkness in the form of pain and moving into the light as we learn how to shift our consciousness to exemplify the consciousness of God. When God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. So in the textbook, this is what it says in this chapter on the way it works. Jesus summed up his whole philosophy in this simple statement: "It is done unto you as you believe." The great teacher looked so deeply into nature that she revealed her fundamental simplicity to him. I love the combination of pronouns there. We suffer not because suffering is imposed upon us, but because we are ignorant of our true nature. Our true nature, of course, being that we are one with the all-pervasive essence of life. So it is done to us as we believe. The whole creative process is set in motion by our belief, including our fears and our faith. And another piece that is really important here is that you can't avoid this. You can't say, "I'm opting out. I'm opting out of that system." It seems that we can't opt out of the creative system. We are made in the image and likeness of God. God is the creative essence of all that is. We reflect that creative nature, and so we can't not create. And we co-create with the law based on our consciousness, our thoughts, our fears, and so forth. So, my darlings, this is the way it works. Your experience of life is because of you. Not your spouse, not your parents, not your children, not the government, not law enforcement, not the scales in your bathroom, and not a political party. And it is the same with me. My life is my responsibility. So if you are distressed or suffering, or even a little bit annoyed, it's time to take responsibility for your life. So honesty is truly looking into your own consciousness. And responsibility, I want to take a little parenthesis about responsibility, because sometimes when people get that they are responsible for their life, it gives them another reason to kick themselves and say, "Oh no, it's my fault." So I want to differentiate between responsibility and blame. Blame is not a spiritual value. Okay? No. Blame is one of those practices of separation that we don't want. We don't want to feel separate from our source, and blame gets us so stuck. When we're in blame, we are just hitting ourselves on the head and saying, "It's my fault, it's my fault, it's my fault." That's blame. Don't do it. Responsibility is to respond appropriately to what's going on in your life. And the appropriate response to suffering or distress is to change your thinking. Change your thinking. Change your life. Good, good, good. Change your thinking, change your life. All right, excellent. And then lightheartedness, of course, is the place to be in order to do that shifting. So, the title of the talk today is Go Ahead. Be unfailingly rigorous with yourself. So, when you think, I am responsible for my life, what also, some people hit themselves in the head and say, "It's all my fault," but you know not to do that. Another thing you don't want to do is to say, "Well, no, I didn't choose that. That thing in my life that I don't like, I didn't choose that. I didn't vote for that. I didn't pray for that. I didn't say of all of the things I could experience in life, I want to be completely alone in life. I want to be lonely. I want to be poor. I want to be uncomfortable. No, I didn't choose that." However, remember Cricket's song? Cricket's song is about you sow and you grow something. Whatever you sow, you grow. So this is a quote from this little book that is your book study for this month. I recommend that you get this in the bookstore. Listen to this. If we could come to understand that the law of mind responds to our entire content of thought, we should see that habitual thought patterns, even though unconscious, would be silently attracting or repelling whether we knew it or not. It's just as though all of our pockets are full of different kinds of seeds. And as we walked around, they kept falling out onto the ground. Whether we knew it or not, they would produce growth. We would look about and say, I didn't sow those seeds. We have done it unknowingly. But ignorance of the law excuses no one from its operation. That's great, isn't it? You got a pocket full of seeds. And you're going to sow those seeds and stuff is going to grow. Now you can either sort out the seeds before they hit the ground, or you can do weeding. And either one of them work. But you got to do one or the other, or else you're going to grow all of those unconscious seeds that bring you pain. So, the solution to suffering, a little bit of suffering, a lot of suffering, and anything that you don't want that's in your life, is knowing that good is always available and letting it come to you. No matter how deeply in despair you are in whatever area of your life today, saying, I don't know how, but I believe that good is available right there in that place. That is the beginning of turning around. So I have a great story for you that I heard this a couple of days ago. Many of you who have been on my trips before know Cameron Broughton, and Cammie and I were together for the last 3 days. So she told me this story, and I asked her if I could share it. So, and she said yes. So a while back, she was doing an earth-based conference, and she wanted to dress up. She wanted to look great. And she didn't have a lot of money for any new clothes. And there was a person who wanted to come to the conference, but that person didn't have money. But she was kind of a consultant, a makeup artist to put together, basically she said, Cammie, I'll dress you up and make you look great, and you let me come to the conference. So both women had such open hearts that they all said yes to this plan. So the participant took Cammie to TJ Maxx, very, very inexpensive store, and they put together some goddess attire. And Cammie needed new shoes because anybody that knows Cammie knows mostly she wears hiking boots. So she wanted some sensible shoes that looked nice. So she went to the rack in TJ Maxx and she found the perfect shoes. Leather, beautifully made, little heel, fit her perfectly. She looked at them, they were new, but there was no price on them. So she took them to buy them, and the person at the checkout said, these aren't our shoes. And Cammie said, oh, okay. But then they said, maybe somebody will come back for them. So we have to keep them overnight, just to see if somebody has forgotten that they left their shoes. And so what we assume happened is that somebody came in, wanted some nice high-heeled shoes, and left theirs, their sensible shoes. And so Cammie came back the next day. She got this really nice pair of shoes for free from TJ Maxx, and she looked fabulous for her conference. Now, who could have thought that one up? But what they put into the law was, I want to look great at my conference, and I want to be generous to this person. And so this whoosh came with God creating this scenario. I mean, how great is that? So, in the textbook, it says this: how much can one demonstrate? Just what one can believe. How much can we see? How much can we accept? How much can we find in our consciousness that is no longer repudiated by our own denials? Whatever that is, that much we can have. So, you'll notice that they didn't really outline what they wanted, how they wanted the great look for Cammie to be. And it just came to them in the most amazing way. So, here we are with the teaching slide. Oh, that's the title. I thought I did that already. Okay, working it the way it works. I love this image. It really is like out of all of the creative juice in the universe moving through our heart and moving through our mind, we make the experiences of our life. So here's how it works. First of all, you know that good is without bounds. You don't focus on the specific thing that you want. I mean, the how to get it. You do focus on the what, not on the how. And know that the universe is beneficial, helpful, loving, supporting, and willing. Here's another great story about that. Many of you remember Lisa Barnett. Lisa Barnett was a practitioner in our community, and then she went on to do her own spiritual teaching. But when my mom died in 2008, as she was preparing to go, she said, I'm going to go and get us some help. And the Sunday after my mom passed, I told that story to the community. I told them that she is on the other side, ready to help us. So not very long after that, Lisa had two little girls who were twins. And these little girls were going to a tea party. And they were dressed to the nines. And it was Sunday morning, they came to church, and it started pouring rain. And Lisa goes, I don't know what to do with these girls. They're going to be like little wet rats going to this party. And so she said, Doris, I need some help staying dry. That's what she wanted. She didn't ask Mom to stop the rain. She didn't ask Mom to change the venue of the party. She's just said, Doris, help me keep the girls dry. So before she left, going out into the pouring rain with the two girls, she went to the bathroom. And she went into the potty stall. And you know how the paper potty liner things are in a little package in the back of the stall? In the box with the potty liners was an umbrella. Not the place where you would think an umbrella would be. So she goes, thank you, Doris, and takes the umbrella and keeps the girls dry. That is the good that is always available. So, you identify where your life hurts. And this is where that honesty and that self-responsibility is really important. You say, you know, my health is not what I want it to be. Or you say, my relationship hurts my heart. Or you say, I'm struggling with how the environment is treated and how, Roundup is in all the products now. I don't know what to do about that. Or I don't have enough money, whatever it is. You identify where your life hurts, and then very simply, you apply number one. You know that good is available right there. So let's take I'm going to give you several examples of how this works. So if your health or your energy or your body is causing you pain or sadness, what could you suggest to yourself? The idea is for you to identify something that you can wrap your mind around and honestly believe it. This is not about lying to yourself. This is not about making stuff up and just saying an affirmation that the rest of you is going, bullshit. That's not it. So what could you say? Here's, let's see if this changes. Okay, this is how we're doing, okay. Another click. This is what you might think. Endless healing abilities exist within me. So I have another story about endless healing abilities. When my grandmother was 90, she broke her femur, this one, the largest bone in the body, 90 years old. And convalescing from a broken femur at 90 is a big deal. So she was not doing real well. She was in a wheelchair. She was at home, but she didn't have that vital healing energy going. Well, it happened that in the midst of this break, my mom and my grandmother, the pair of them, were moving to another house. So my little sick, frail grandmother was in this new house, and Mom put her to work folding the packing paper. So here she was, she wheeled her wheelchair up to the dining room table, and you know that like big newspaper sheets of packing paper. My grandmother, for hours, would spread them out and fold them and fold them, spread them out and fold them. And that much activity increased her heart rate enough that the healing properties kicked in. Because as long as we're in our bodies, we have healing capacities. Now, does that mean that we're going to live to 300? Probably not, because our soul wants something else. But my grandmother's soul wanted to stay there, wanted to stay in her body a few more years. And so that helped to, you see me dealing with this thing that's supposed to, my ears are not shaped the way that my microphone wants them to be. But I'm going to look for the good in that. So anyway, we have healing abilities exist. So let's talk about finances. If your financial life is lacking or scary, and you create a plan to do something about it, it's kind of like you need to treat and move your feet. So my grandmother, we were all praying for my grandmother, and she folded paper. So you can have a plan for enhancing your wealth, but unless it is preceded by a belief in abundance, it's going to be difficult for you. So to wrap your mind around this, infinite abundance is in God. Now, can't we all believe that? Infinite grains of sand, infinite leaves, infinite stars, infinite cat fur on everything. You get the idea. So that's my example of abundance in God. So if you can feel that, and the stories that I've told you today about shoes, about umbrellas, there is infinite abundance in God. You wrap your mind around that, and you will be led to the plan that works in the world for your enhanced financial experience. Next, if you want love or friendship or company, if you're feeling lonely, focusing on loneliness only brings more loneliness. And as unnatural as it might feel at first, shifting to something like this: limitless love, light, peace, and joy within me attracts more. Now, you are going to be lit up like a Christmas tree with that affirmation. You are going to be irresistible. That is conscious spiritual work. So, if you think, yeah, that sounds good, but I don't know if I can actually do it, get yourself a prayer from a practitioner, because the practitioners are trained to help you recreate that cause in your mind that will create a new condition. So, ready for more? All right. So, if you're at odds with someone, affirming that you're right and they're wrong, well, what do you think that's going to do? That's kind of going to create more conflict and separation. However, this would be good. Unending harmony is within seeming conflict. And that's the truth. Harmony and its sister, order, is heaven's first law. That's the truth. Order is heaven's first law. And harmony is how order outpictures in relationships. How this is going to shift in your life and how you're going to get lovey and chummy with somebody that you're at odds with, I don't know. But God does. God knows. So, here's a good one. If you're distressed by the integrity or lack of integrity in the political process, you can demonstrate, you can protest, you can write letters, you can do Facebook until you're blue in the face. But all that will not work for you unless you hold the belief that a healthy political system is possible, or that love and harmony and integrity is possible for you despite anything that's going on in the world. So here it is. Unceasing honesty, integrity, and goodness exist in the world. Do you believe that? Yes. Absolutely. There are pockets where that might not seem to be true, but if you go looking for honesty, integrity, and goodness, you will find it in the world. And that is actually the entire lesson. And Jesus also said it, seek and ye shall find. So the idea is to mind your mind. The idea is to be really, really, really honest with where you are in this moment, because you can't get to a new place until you know where you are. An infinite amount of good exists right here, and we can discover it. This is from your little book study. Suppose somebody has been filled with fear all their life. Fear is sort of a vague thing. Often one does not know what he is afraid of, but he's afraid. But if we know that a thought of faith will neutralize a thought of fear in ourselves or in somebody else, and that a continuous, conscious, affirmative attitude will neutralize a negative one, if we come to know that one kind of thought will neutralize another, wipe it out, then we can set about to change our thinking and our world of experience. That is the kernel of the lesson today. And just to bring our beloved Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. into this talk, because we celebrate his wisdom tomorrow, he said, "Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that." So, the title of the talk involves rigorous work. This takes rigorous work and cannot be done in less than a thorough way if you want your life to change. Now, many people live for 90 years, but they live the same year 90 times. You can't lie to yourself, and you can't work effectively unless you go really deep. And usually you can't do this overnight. I think there's a statistic that says in order to master a new area of wisdom, it takes about 7 years. Yeah, it takes about 7 years to become a chiropractor. It takes about 7 years to become a lawyer. Give us 7 years and work hard. And you will become a master of your own life. A master of your joy, your creative capacity, your ability to manifest, your peace of mind, your radiance in the world. What do you have to lose? You can live the next 7 years just like the last one, or you can give us 7 years and come every Sunday or as many Sundays as you can, take classes, do this work of the values, apply these principles, and you will shift, I promise you, or you get all your money back. Good deal. Okay, darlings, honesty, being honest with yourself, taking full responsibility for your experience in life. And lightheartedness is old-fashioned optimism, looking for the good and praising it. And if you don't like these values, I also talked about persistence, faith, and optimism. Choose one of those. Or choose something else. Write it here. Preview it in your life. How might I live it when I go to this meeting? How might I live it when I have this conversation? How might I express this when I go to this party? And then you live it, and then you reflect on it. You say, how well did that work for me? And I promise you, your life will shift. So, now is the time for the inner work, and I would like the practitioners to surround the community and hold these beloveds in this container, knowing that the lessons of today are well learned. And before I move into prayer, I would like to tell you that our beloved Barbara Lyon has moved into the next realm. Posey's mom. Posey's mom has taken her place at the table of the immortals. And so the prayer is for praying in the lesson and for Barbara Lyon and those that she left behind. So if you would turn within with me. Knowing that the infinite presence is right here and everywhere. That infinite goodness of God is in this room and the next room, in this solar system and the next, in this day and tomorrow, in this realm and in all realms. This infinite good created me and created everyone in this room, created Barbara Lyon, Posey and Jill, and lives within each one of us as we live in and around our bodies, and lives as each one of us as we move on to the next realm. For the immortal realm is our home. It is where I came from. Everyone here, Barbara, Posey, and Jill. The eternal realm is where we live, even though we live in bodies that give us such interesting experiences. And releasing those bodies at the perfect time creates for us a freedom that is indescribable, a beauty, a soaring, a radiance, a remembrance that is absolutely precious. We bless the soul that we knew as Barbara Lyon as she takes her place at the table of the immortals. And we imagine that she is still sowing those seeds. She sowed the seed of Posey. She sowed the seed of Jill. She sowed the seeds of joy and dance and yoga and adventure and hiking and smiling and supporting. And as we think of the seeds that we are sowing, those seeds that we have intentionally nurtured, and those that have grown up around those seeds that we intentionally nurture, and we are ready to let go of. We stop watering the seeds of separation and hate. We stop watering the seeds of lack and separation. And we move into being the wisest workers in the fields of our own mind that we possibly can be. Where we walk, flowers grow. I give my thanks for every single path that I have trod and the one ahead. And I give thanks for all of the paths represented in this room and how beautiful it is that our paths have converged together for this time. We are so blessed. And so it is. Amen. The practitioners can take their seat again, and we welcome Cricket.